What's up, guys? This is James, unlocking the value and copymycrypto.com, telling you today about the wonderful world of crypto and the continued NFT madness. It's absolutely nuts. So, spreadsheets updated. Phantoms are still having a bit of a pullback, but everything related to DeFi at the moment is having one to some degree, and I'll get into that. NFTs are continuously flying. Luxo is now up 26 times. Engine's up 22 times. We're really starting to see the flurry there. A huge piece of news yesterday sort of spurned that on, and I'll get into that. So all 26 coins are bloody great. But so 26 coins, $100 into each coin would net you a profit, 29,000 right now. Bear in mind, I don't hold a lot of these anymore, but what I did was invest in all of them at one point or another, pull out when I was in decent or good profit and compounded it into other projects. That's sort of how you've got to do things to continuously make your profits. Now, the launch of Copy My Crypto is complete, so I'm really over the moon and overwhelmed with the amount of response that we've had. It's been absolutely wonderful. I know there were a couple of issues at the beginning with regards to some email problems. They have all been resolved. As for the issues with regards to payment integration, PayPal is just being hellish in terms of a nightmare in terms of integration. So PayPal won't be integrated at this point. But I know that we got a lot of emails about people trying to get in and the payment options being a problem. So what I'm going to do is we're going to extend the sort of launch phase for a little bit longer, but the $39 phase is gone. People that got in this week have got that. So we're going to make it $49 for a short period, and then once that is done, it will go back to the original amount, which is $99 a month. If you want to check if that's worth it, look at the spreadsheet of the success of some of these coins. Look at the call of Phantom, and look at me telling you not to get into YAM, guys. Don't get into YAM, I said. But yeah, so check it out. Check out the links in the description. And let's get into these markets because there's been some mad stuff, guys. Mad stuff. So we're still waiting on sort of Bitcoin and Ethereum to make some significant moves after obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum both up pretty well across the week, but we were expecting a bit more flurry. I certainly was, and I still think Bitcoin will probably close the month above 60k. It's sort of just a waiting game at this point, and I think Ethereum is set to do a bit of a rally. The time frame of that is an interesting one, though. So, firstly, with regards to Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin talked about a 100x scaling solution. So he was on a podcast with Tim Ferriss's podcast this week, but he talked about the potential for the scaling solution to be implemented a lot sooner than any of us anticipated. Me personally, I thought we wouldn't get this done till the back end of this year. So he's looking at doing roll-ups, and the roll-ups mean that they should be able to increase the transactions per second up to and above 1,000 transactions per second, which is a lot better than the 15 that we're getting on Ethereum at the moment. And that's part of the reason that there's been a sort of stagnation in DeFi. One of the reasons. So if they get the optimistic roll-ups out, which is the sort of preferred thing for all DeFi, then we should see a real uptake in the DeFi markets. And as a result, obviously Ethereum. But the time frame is the interesting one, because we're looking at maybe potentially around the hard fork. So the Berlin hard fork scheduled for April. So if the sharding, the optimistic roll-ups work, then I think next month could be a very good month for Ethereum. So it's going to be an interesting one. But one other thing that's stagnated the sort of DeFi market is the hacks. There's been a few. There's been a few, guys. Dodo got hacked and drained of 3.8 million with an exploit. We saw Paid Network get rinsed completely. That was a really bad one. And we saw Meerkat Finance. I think the total was around 200 million for those three DeFi projects. And the issue is quite simply that there's exploits in the coding. And this was the problem. This is what happened with Yam originally. Because I know Yam's sort of up and running again, but when it's unaudited, if it's not been audited or has been audited poorly, exploits in these codings are going to result in good hackers exploiting them. So it's sort of, if you're approaching the DeFi game, approach it tentatively because there is serious room to get destroyed. Okay. Now, Jesus, this news last night, saw it, blew my mind. So NFT artwork by Beeple sold for $69 million at auction. Third most expensive living artist to find now. That piece of artwork, unbelievable. 69 million. And almost to the hour that this news launched, the NFT markets went mad. I mean, you still look at the trending coins, Chili Engine, Luxo. Straight away, you've got NFTs right there, and look at it. I mean, in the last 7 days, Engine smashed it. Luxo's up. Luxo's really smashed it. Axie Infinity is one I talked about at the start of the month. Now, that's done very, very well as a result of this NFT hype, along with obviously a good use case in terms of the platform. A lot of people use it. But I mean, it's hard to find any that are down across the week. It's staggering. And the NFTs, I still think there's probably room for them to run before a pullback, but there will be a pullback because they are starting to get overbought. And what my expectation is here really is that the NFT hype might continue for, a couple of weeks, maybe the rest of the month. But after that, there will be some level of pullback because they're going to be overbought, right? It doesn't mean they're not successful and it doesn't mean they aren't going to run again. But when things go up enormous amounts of value in a short time frame, they tend to then feel a pullback. So if you're looking at these products going, oh, I want to get into Luxo, I would probably wait for a pullback. It might do another run. I mean, it would not surprise me if we at the weekend break $30 on Luxo, maybe $32 on Luxo, just looking at the charts. But it's been a parabolic sort of rise this week, really. There's been a couple of days where it's just done huge numbers. And it's sort of the same for Axie Infinity. I think, like I said, I thought Axie Infinity would break into the top 200, but it's had such a rise in such a short time frame. If you buy in now, you might be buying in at the peak. But it's an unpredictable market. My gut instinct is that we're going to see NFTs still continue a run for the next fortnight. But after that, I'm expecting some sort of a pullback. As for DeFi's a bit stagnant at the moment. And part of that's down to fear of the hacks that have happened. Part of that's down to the transaction fees still being quite wild on Ethereum. And it may take a little bit of time, but I think next month we're going to start seeing some really interesting stuff in terms of DeFi development and another DeFi pump, especially if sharding is implemented and the fees are resolved, because that is the biggest thing stopping retail investors from getting into DeFi is the fees. If you've not got a lot of funds and you're trying to get into DeFi, it's not worth it because you need a lot because you've got to deal with the transaction fees. If you've got $100, there's literally no point trying to do any DeFi stuff because the transactions are going to wipe out, 30% of that at least. Probably more like 60% of that with the amount of transactions and confirmations you've got to do. So I'm hoping that we see that resolved for Ethereum because that will have a really good impact on the market. Remember, Bitcoin may push the market forward, but Ethereum pushes the altcoin market forward. And the altcoins are the investment of the century, really. This year is going to be a huge one for altcoins. So you want to see Ethereum doing well, even if you're not in it, because it will push the other projects forward. Yeah. So, your question, guys, because I've been asked, I asked last time, I didn't get too many responses. So, what are there any ICOs people are looking at and are excited about? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget, guys. So for a short extended period, we're going to have the Copy My Crypto, the monthly at $49 a month. But once that's over, we're back to $99. Okay, so check it out. Check out the success stories, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.